So welcome to Invest. We're talking about investing, finance, and professionalism. For today's attempts only, the investment I'm going to talk today will be Ethereum ETH. So I'm my second posting as of today, with respect to recording time of 1:27 p.m. on the Eastern time. Ethereum currently trading $3,496, up about 0.30% so far. On the overall crypto market, it seems like it's kind of trending, treading water at the moment. With the equity side, with respective stocks, like especially on the, more of the, blue chip stocks in the technology sector, there's definitely a lot of sector rotation that's currently happening, with some of the more high growth small cap stocks kind of trading on a sideways fashion, leaning more towards a bearish sentiments, especially on the high growth small cap stock coming from China. As you know, with respect to the China crackdown, it seems to be still a worry among investor sentiments. So with respect to Ethereum, I've been collecting some news for the last 4 or 5 hours so far. I would say, in the earlier half of this morning, it was definitely very active. It seems like the media front is playing catch up on obviously the weekend or the long weekend we've had, right? Yesterday was the Columbus weekend, so technically we have a 3 days holiday, which subsequently drive this type of activities on the media front. And I'll say across the board has been relatively more of a just reminding type of news. Talk about the momentum that we're trending, but some say frankly non-substantive positive news, if you may, talking about NFT commercializations that we've talked about earlier this morning already. So specifically 2 news that came out. I would say 3, but one we have already kind of talked about. Just to keep tabs on one by one, right? Cointelegraph 3 hours ago talked about Vitalik Buterin, which is the founder or the inventor of Ethereum. He talks about DAOs, Ethereum, and NFTs in a new interview. So it's an interesting, informative one, talking about his most up-to-date verbiage or more up-to-date characterization towards these respective objects that we've been observing, right? So it's interesting, it's informative, but in terms of driving any market dynamics, I would say there isn't anything relevant to that. But he's obviously someone that is the brand entity, or the representations, if you may, for Ethereum NFT commercialization. So it's good to know. So feel free to take a read. It's on Cointelegraph that came out 3 hours ago. It's on a podcast interview. The next one's on Cointelegraph again, 6 hours ago. Talk about Ethereum loses key support level as ETH price falls to a 2-month low against Bitcoin. So what they're really talking about is the 2 months low is basically right now we are below technically the level of identification. If I zoom in a little bit, that the level that we should technically be at right now would be somewhere around like the 3,475, which is the level that we're at right now. So we have broken support recently, right? Which is the level of 3,372 and then respectively 3,391. And we're kind of just basically bouncing up and down, up and down, up and down, right? And the 3,475 is basically the next pit stop before we reach to the 3,850. So the article is basically talking about that, okay, so we cannot reach to the next level of consolidation zone, which is the 3,850. We broken the support at the 3,475. So what's next coming up, right? So right now we are trending around like down 0.15%. And on the technical front, you could see MACD is prominently forming a curvature right now. It looks like a whale stomach or whale humpback, right? And at the same time, we are at more of an upper echelons of the overall bought versus oversold. We're like basically about the 60 out of 70, so it's not like a terrible level, but because of the fact that the MACD's, the apex was already formed when we were at the 3,682, which technically is not a level at all, right? It's a non-substantive floating levitation level that we have to go down, and I think the ball is about to throw back down now. The baseball is kind of curving down to the field, that the catcher is about to catch on to forming that cross section. As we form that cross section, that will confirm the bearish settlement coming, and I think this bearish settlement is imminent, it's coming right now, and it's showing in front of our eyes. I'm just telling you ahead of time right now. And as we cross the cross section, I think the likelihood will actually go down to 3,150. And I think that will be an ideal level for dollar cost averaging. And I think by then we'll basically deplete back to like the low 40s or like even the high 30s or mid 30s if you may, right? And that's the perfect time. You want to buy when it's the sweet spot around like, below 35 if you could. Do we see like 2,600 or 2,450? Those are like really, really steep level to fall down. Like how many levels is that? Like basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 if you count that 3,338. That's 8 levels to break down, right? So I don't think, it will basically be blocked out so many times that the blockade will be more and more pressurized as you go down. So I think likely actually go down that way would not be possible based on how it's set up. I think the lowest would technically be, if we even get there, 2,750 if we get lucky, right? But it makes sense to start doing at 3,150 already. And then the last news that I see, which is something we talked about again, but it's just covered by another news channel, is the Medellin saying Frontier received 3.5 million ETF in donation for NFT sales. So it seems like there's some adoptions coming out from the humanitarian organization called Medellin San Frontier. So interesting. It's already something we talked about earlier this morning. So next one is Bitcoin. Let's talk about what's going on now. It seems like we have formed the apex already. So the apex with the 57,800, which is for some reason is coming true per what we said. I said 58,500, so we're like $1,000 off. But it seems like we are forming a curvature right now, so technically the apex is formed. And I think we should be experiencing some sell-off coming because we are still overbought with the 69.31, and we were at 75 earlier today. And that's when we hit the apex, which is very logical. So I think the next couple of days, we're going to see more sell-off coming. I don't see more bullishness to keep us, sustain at around these levels, especially knowing the fact that we surged up in the last week so far. So definitely, if you want to liquidate some holdings for Bitcoin in the short-term perspective, I think it's definitely wise to do so. But I'm not going to do that. I don't want to pay tax on it, nor do I want to liquidate my 3 Bitcoins. I want to hold it for a long time. So ultimately, I'm not a wizard. I cannot predict the future, where I could be completely wrong with what I'm saying, but just that it's been, quite logical based on, using my methodology, and it seems like it's working out for you guys as well. So I'm just reading charts. I'm not really predicting the future. I'm just saying what's going on right now. So I'll just hold, despite the sell-off that technically it should be coming. So Dogecoin, we are still selling off. We are forming a def cross closely, and you could see that we're 45.70. So I think the lowest we could go to will be starting at the 21 cents, and then ideal at the bottom 19 cents. Cardano up about 1.45%. It's still hovering on a sideways fashion. We are kind of fusing together with the 43, so it's not like a bad level to buy. But ideally, right, at the better level will be the $2 mark, right? So, I mean, Cardano is kind of having a lag effect. It's delayed right now, so, maybe buy a little bit. It's not a bad idea. Solana is struggling. We had the 50 out of 70, and we formed a def cross recently. So I think the ball needs to kind of roll down, and I think the better level to buy would be, which we got there earlier today, actually, at the 36, which is the level that we identified here. But a better level would be like somewhere, if I even am interested buying, would be somewhere around like the 120, 110. And for me, because I want to build a position for the first time, maybe 66 would be a better level, knowing the fact that the cycle is still taking some time to come together. XRP is sold off earlier today to the 105 because of the consolidation that we've had, previously, all the way from basically September all the way to now. We had that scoop, right? And right now, I think a better level, knowing the fact that we are forming a curvature, a well humpback with the 53 out of 70, I think a better level will be the 110 at the bare minimum, 93 and 88 respectively. Dogecoin, not Dogecoin, POLKADOT is forming a curvature a well back again at the 54 out of 70. So I think ideally, again, right, the 25 would be the dip, which we were looking at the dip, right? I was telling you guys earlier, but then we see this like mega green candle, or more like a flash crash. It just doesn't sit well with me, so I tend to stay away from this. But you know, for you to even be incentivized to buy, you should be waiting until we were at the 25 at least. Algorand's Algorand is forming a dev cross slowly at the 51, so I think ideally we want to buy at anywhere below the 155 or the 150, which technically should be the bottom. And also got some questions from my friends like, oh, okay, what's going on with Tesla and NEO? So let's just take a look at it. So Tesla right now, I do have 1,000 something shares of Tesla, so it's a big part of my holding. Right now, it just formed a golden cross, so I do think that we should technically keep leaping up, but not for a long time because we're very overbought right now. So let's take a look at like, how high we could technically go to. I know I'm going off topic right now. So this is not a consult. So I think the highest you could technically go to would be somewhere around like the 827 per the technicals. All-time high was 900, right? So I think we could technically get there, but we need to sell off a little bit, like consolidate on a sideways fashion, deplete the RSI a little bit. But it's good that we're having a bullish signal right now. You cannot really see closely. We formed that golden cross, so we are still going to be surging. I think 827, by the time we get there, RSI is going to be overbought crazily. And as you deplete, come back down, you know, close to about like the mid 700s. And then deplete from there, and then as we cool down back to like 56, I think we could continue to rally. I do see all-time high by end of this year for Tesla. NEO, I think, is a perfect setup right now with the 45. We just formed a golden cross, and I think it's delayed right now. So I think right now it's not a bad level to buy completely, to be honest with you. I've been buying a lot of NEO lately because of obviously the Evergrande and China crackdown news is basically driving the whole market to go down. So NEO has strong fundamental, good business model. The EV is the future. With the Norway expansion, I don't see any problem. With the management team either, I think in a business fundamental perspective is a good buy, and we are trading at a relatively strong discount right now. So with respect to the cheat sheet right now for crypto, we are at the anger stage and depression stage. And with respect to the price target, here are the levels that I've identified here. So with respect to Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, I have not changed any of them at all. I'm thinking about revising, for the respective altcoin here. But I think at the current level right now is still the better risk-averse momentum, especially Solana is trading at a different market cycle. But I think this makes sense at the current level right now. Again, the risk management level is I personally identified, not for everybody. So, you know, you might be a little bit more risk-averse or less risk-averse than I am. So hopefully this is helpful in terms of giving you that frame of reference. I really appreciate you for dropping by again for my second video, and stay tuned for it to come out. Take care.